manufactured by Mitsubishi 4J32.
Crankshaft gear. Its main function is to transform the linear motion of the piston into rotational motion. The pistons are connected to the crankshaft through the connecting rods. Camshaft. A camshaft, an internal combustion heat engine, is a device that controls both the input of fuel and the expulsion of exhaust fumes. It consists of several radial cams, each displacing intake or exhaust valves. This camshaft is connected to the crankshaft via belt, chain, or gears. Camshaft gear. The camshaft turns to allow intake and exhaust valves on the cylinders to open and close. These components are important for proper engine timing. If the timing gears are going bad or failing and the timing chains are unable to be turned by the camshaft and crankshaft, valve timing and ignition timing will be off. Rocker arm assembly. A rocker arm is an oscillating lever that conveys radial movement from the cam loop into linear movement at the poppet valve to open it. Cylinder head. They are key to controlling airflow in and out of the cylinders and fuel deployment. The cylinder head also holds the injectors and valves and contains more moving parts than any other part of the engine. Although largely unnoticed, the cylinder head plays a key role in your engine. Cylinder head cover. In many modern per-stroke engines, the cylinder head cover houses and upper actuation elements of the engine control unit as well as the valves in the crankcase, ventilation with all its peripheral devices. Additionally, it protects the engine part from dirt or other foreign objects. Piston. A piston is a moving disc enclosed in a cylinder which is made gas-tight by piston rings. The disc moves inside the cylinder as a liquid or gas inside the cylinder expands and contracts. A piston aids in the transformation of heat energy into mechanical work and vice versa. Crankshaft main cap. Structural device that holds the crankshaft in place in an engine block. Exhaust manifold. The exhaust manifold is the first part of your vehicle's exhaust system. It is connected to your vehicle's engine and collects your engine's emissions. The exhaust manifold receives the air or fuel mixture from the multiple cylinders in your vehicle's engine. Intake manifold. Featuring a series of tubes, the intake manifold ensures that the air coming into the engine is evenly distributed to all the cylinders. This air is used during the first stroke of the combustion process. The intake manifold also helps cool down the cylinders to prevent the engine from overheating. Timing belt tensioner. The timing belt tensioner is used to do just that, keep tension on the timing belt. The timing belt is a rubber belt that runs through a series of pulleys and gears. Over time, due to age and heat, the belt will stretch as it can become loose. So the tensioner needs to adjust the belt as needed to keep it tight. Engine oil strainer. Generally, an oil filter and a strainer seek to perform a very similar task to remove contaminants as oil passes through. But at a completely different scale, strainers are employed to capture much larger contaminants. By larger, this refers to objects of approximately 40 microns or greater. Spark plug. Your spark plugs are what supply the spark that ignites the air or fuel mixture, creating the explosion which makes your engine produce power. These small but simple plugs create an arc of electricity across two leads which are not touching but close enough together that electricity can jump the gap between them. Engine water pump. The automotive water pump is a simple centrifugal pump that is driven by a belt connected to the engine's crankshaft. After the coolant flows around the engine, usually at the front of the car, it is hosed to the radiator, where the hot coolant is cooled by air movement along with the radiator fins. Oil pump assembly. The oil pump is an internal combustion engine circulates engine oil under pressure to the rotating bearings, the sliding pistons, and the camshaft of the engine, as well its primary purpose for lubrication. Pressurized oil is increasingly used as a hydraulic fluid to power small actuators. Oil filter housing. The oil filter housing is a housing used for oil filters inside the engine bay. It is something that connects the oil filter with the engine by securing it at one place. To put it simply, oil filter housing provides a safe place for the oil filter to do its job. Oil pan. The oil pan's purpose is to catch oil from where it connects to the engine block. The oil pan gasket seals the oil pan to the engine block and contracts and expands with the engine's temperature. Balancer shaft. Balance shafts are used in piston engines to reduce vibration by cancelling out unbalanced dynamic forces. The balance shaft was invented and patented by British engineer Frederick W. Lanchester in 1907. It is most commonly used in inline 4 and version 6 engines used in automobiles and motorcycles. There are two types of camshaft balancer. The first one is intake balancer and the second one is exhaust balancer. Intake and exhaust valve. Intake and exhaust valves are responsible for controlling the flow of gases through the combustion chamber. Intake valves let air in, whereas exhaust valves let air out. They are shaped to have a slim stem leading to a flatter face, with the intake valves often being larger than the exhaust. Valve springs. A valve spring is a spring that returns a poppet valve to its closed position. The valve spring is a coil spring used to hold that valve is in a closed position. The valve spring must be strong enough to keep the lifter in contact with the camshaft lube at all times. Timing belt. A timing belt, timing chain, or cam belt is a part of an internal combustion engine that synchronizes the rotation of the crankshaft and the camshaft so that the engine's valves open and close at the proper times during cylinder's intake and exhaust strokes. Oil filter. An oil filter is a filter designed to remove contaminants from engine oil, transmission oil, lubricating oil, or hydraulic oil. Cylinder head bolts. Cylinder head bolts are the connecting elements between engine block, cylinder head gasket, and cylinder head. The bolt tightening force is an important factor for the mutual sealing of combustion chamber, lubricant, and coolant channels and the ambient air. Engine. An engine is some machine that converts energy from the fuel to some mechanical energy, creating motion in the process. Engines, such as ones used to run vehicles, can run on a variety of different fuels, most notably gasoline and diesel in the case of cars. Good day everyone, I am Harold B. Caligacion, a first-year student of PTC Malilipot, taking Industrial Technology. I'm going to discuss about the valves. There are two types of valves, the intake valve and the exhaust valve. The intake valve is larger than the exhaust valve. Merong mga ang valve po. Ito valve stem, valve tip, valve face, valve area, and valve margin. Parehas lang to sa exhaust valve. Ito po ay valve spring retainer, valve spring retainer, and valve spring retainer lang. Sa valve. Pasok mo po ang valve spring retainer. Next, ang valve spring. Sunod ang valve spring retainer ulit. At ang nakatipog sa dalawang valve spring retainer lang. Pasok po po ito ganito. Tapos lock na po siya. Ito po yung intake valve. And this one is the exhaust valve.
My name is Kevin B. Malagde, first year college of PTC Malilipot, taking Industrial Technology, Automotive in C1. And this is the crankshaft. Crankshaft is responsible for the proper operation of the engine, and crankshaft is converting a linear motion to rotary motion. Ang crankshaft ay merong flywheel flywheel mounted flange, counterweight, at ito yung crank webs, ito yun naman yung crank pin, main journal, tapos ito yung keyway, at yan yung crankshaft.
My name is Angelo Banyadera, first year from PTC Malilipot in Industrial Technology.
I'm Joven Bibilando, a first-year college of PTC Malilipo, taking Industrial Technology.
I'm Julius B. Ruiz, first year college of PTC Malilipot. I'm taking Industrial Technology.
She got a big ego, you could see it on a telescope. I'm the same way, it's why we always argue back and forth. I swear she my poison, at the same time my antidote. She the noose around my neck, I couldn't ask for a better rope.